Hello everybody, hope you're doing fantastically well. It is Connor here and we are back with a sort of rumour mill Leeds United news update. As I say, hope you're all doing well. Leeds United getting the win at the weekend, 1-0 against the Hornets. And what not a lot of people are talking about is a clean sheet as well, guys. A clean sheet in the bag. Is there any coincidence that my new favourite player, because I'm that fickle, it was Rafinha, but now it's Diego Llorente, just because of his impact in this Leeds United side, it was featuring. And I think we saw a stat earlier on, didn't we, on Twitter, that his when he's been playing for Leeds United, he is the massive pawn in Leeds United getting victories in this division. 7 wins out of 10 towards the back end of last season. Llorente featuring in pretty much every single one of those games is no coincidence. Now, you might see by the thumbnail as well, we'll get onto a little bit of Calvin Phillips chat in a little bit. There's been a lot of natter today about him potentially going to Manchester United. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Are you even entertaining that waffle, or do you think that is something that could definitely come to light with Calvin Phillips? We've seen it before, haven't we, with one of our sons in Alan Smith, and could this be something that Manchester United are looking at? They're looking at a defensive midfielder apparently. Could that be Calvin Phillips? Let me know in the comment section below. We'll get onto that in a bit anyway, but I want to touch on the Watford game. We noticed a lot of things, didn't we, in that game, which I was really, really happy with. Jamie Shackleton. There's a lot of debates to be had now. Does Jamie Shackleton start for Leeds week in, week out over Luke Ayling, or is that fickle? For what Luke Ayling's done for this club, Leeds United in general over his period, does he start ahead of Jamie Shackleton at this moment in time? Because I think for years and years we've seen Jamie Shackleton improve, up notch. And this is not a disparaging comment on Luke Ayling at all. Not at all. I'm not writing him off at all. You can't do that with Luke because of what he's done, how he's always come back, even from injury, from whatever it might be. He always comes back and he always gets that level of performance to where it was at. But I think it's been a poor start for Luke Ayling to this Premier League campaign. I think you could say that for a lot of Leeds players, there's off the field issues, as been reported with Stuart Dallas, but on the field, that's clearly affecting him. I think he's been poor. I think he needs to be taken out of the firing line, even though it was a good performance from him at the weekend. But listen, when we're talking about the Luke Ayling, Jamie Shackleton conversation, you've also got factor Cody Drame in there as well. Cody Drame, who is ready for Premier League football right at this moment in time, but he doesn't seem to be in Marcelo Bielsa's preferential list ahead of, McCarran and Cresswell and Somerville, who have featured more and more on the bench. So that's a fascinating conversation to have. But isn't it a great conversation to have? Because Leeds United, when we were talking about fitness levels and injuries and this, that and the other, but to still have competition in these places with such a thin squad is absolutely fantastic to see. But when both are fit and firing, who do you guys have? Is it Luke Ayling, 100% experience, done it for Leeds United, yada yada yada, or is it Jamie Shackleton, the next one coming off the academy line and someone who deserves a chance? If Shackleton's putting in these performances week in, week out for the next however many weeks Luke Ayling is out, does he deserve a shout, or does Luke Ayling just come back in and replace him straight away? Let me know in the comment section below. Another little conversation to be had as well over the weekend: Dan James or Jack Harrison. Now was talking on Leeds United live stream not long ago about the impact of Dan James. There's a lot of people who are talking and saying, he's not been that great, this, that and the other. I completely disagree. We could be talking right now about Dan James having 3 penalties given to him for fouls made on him in the Premier League, and he's only been here for such a short amount of time. It doesn't matter how you get Dan James, defences don't like coming up against him, and it's so obvious. Now, with someone with his level of pace, the defensive side of it is absolutely fantastic. I think he's the best defensive winger at the club, and that is including Jack Harrison. I think his pace to get back into shape is something that we haven't seen in this Marcelo Bielsa side, and I think his one-on-one defending is actually really good, which was shown against Watford at the weekend. And this isn't me counteracting Jack Harrison. I think Jack Harrison's superb. But there was a lot of talk of Dan James at Manchester United not having the end product, if you will. Now, with him being at Leeds United, we have a lot of players in our ranks, as we saw again at the weekend, who don't have that end product. It's highlighted more with Dan James because he was at Manchester United and there was that global attention on him. He's surrounded by world-class players, so his end product was not at that level. When he's come into this Leeds United side, I've not noticed a difference between Dan James, Jack Harrison at all. Or, you know, I know we've seen spouts of Crescencio or Somerville, but I don't include Rafinha in that, because I think Rafinha's end product is largely good. But Dan James's end product for me is definitely on par with what I see with Jack Harrison, you know, in game. And I know it's a small sample size, but I thought his end product was very good at the weekend. I thought he was putting dangerous balls into the box. As I said, I thought he should have had 2 penalties. There's not people aren't talking about the second one where he took on the full back, directed straight into the box, was going at full pelt, and then was tackled in the box. That was a penalty. You know, I was straight on vision with it, and I could see that was a penalty in my personal opinion. The one in the first half was a stonewaller. You looked the one at Newcastle. Quite staggering how that wasn't a penalty. So Dan James is having an impact. He's having a massive impact. And this is what I was saying in my review at the weekend. What I loved about him against Watford was he was fronting the full back up and going at him. Now, what was my criticism of Dan James, just in general, for his general play? Because every single player can improve, can't they? He always wants the ball over the top. And in any Premier League side, you have to have more to your game than that. You have to be able to front up a fullback, take him on, be direct as a top winger in this division. That's exactly what he was doing, and he was getting so much joy against Watford, and it was fantastic to see. And I wouldn't drop him. I don't think you can drop him on that performance for me. You know, I think defensively he was very good, offensively he was very good, and now we've got a conversation right now: Jack Harrison or Dan James. You know, I know, listen, there's a lot of people who love Jack Harrison in general. Of course, you know, he's come back from a bout of COVID. But if you take a step back, we haven't got a massive sample size, as I said, at this moment in time. But it's going to be fascinating to see what Bielsa does. He massively likes Dan James, and of course he does with Jack Harrison. But I want to know what you guys would do in that scenario. It's very, very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. Yeah, and I just love the control, the possession aspect of Leeds' game. The offensive threat, as we've learned of this first part of the season, hasn't been good enough. That drastically has to improve. 3 draws, 3 losses, and a win. 7 goals scored. Sorry, I wish it was 17. 14 against. We always know Leeds are weak defensively, but we've had 7 different defensive combinations, which essentially means Marcelo Bielsa has 0 consistency in that defensive department. The centre-back department, guys, where some would argue we've got more strength than anywhere else on the pitch, but it always seems to hamper us defensively in that centre-back region. I don't know why, but it does. That's the way the cookie crumbles. So for me, as soon as that's back, as soon as we get a consistent partnership of Diego Llorente and or Liam Cooper or Pascal, that's for me. That's for me when we start to build up some consistency, especially with the games that we've got coming up. 3 really important games. Watch Southampton at the weekend. I still think they're a good outfit. I still think they've got real a little bit of pedigree up front and depth up front still. You know, I still think that their front line can cause problems. The big news is obviously James Ward-Prowse is going to be out of that Leeds game, which is massive in terms of so many things. Just his end product, his set piece delivery, that is huge. And with Leeds having bodies on the way back, that's hopefully going to be massively advantageous. Who would you start? Would it be Pascal or would it be Liam Cooper on the left side of a Diego Llorente right side? Let me know in the comment section below. I want to know what you think. But yeah, as I say, guys, James Ward-Prowse out for Southampton, which is huge in terms of them going forward. Obviously, the captain, it's a massive miss for that for Southampton, a huge boost for Leeds United. There's also going to be a fascinating aspect of Leeds' progression in terms of who's going to be back for that Southampton game. Is Bamford going to be back? We don't know. It was supposed to be a month after the Newcastle game. Is he going to be ready to be fit and firing? I think it might come too soon, but we'll have to wait and see. Rafinha's the other one as well. It's going to be, I think it's 35 to 36 hours by the time Brazil play to then when Leeds United play, which is such a massive ask for Rafinha to start in that game. But, you know, we know what he's like. He's a freak of nature in terms of fitness, but with his ongoing issues with his groin and this, that and the other this season, will Leeds risk that? I'm a bit disappointed he's gone out there, to be honest. I am gutted because I'd have loved for him to just rest up and you know, we know he's got problems this season. I think he looked a bit better against Watford in terms of how he was moving. He wasn't moving as gingerly, but I am worried about his legs a little bit, and it's a lot of games at this moment in time. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one, guys. But the main topic of the video was going to be was going to be Calvin Phillips. Now, there's a lot of rumours at this moment in time of him going to Manchester United. There's been more and more this morning. You know, what's going to be happening? Are they going to make a move in the summer months? It doesn't look like they're going to try anything in January, but will Manchester United make that move for someone like Calvin Phillips in the summer months? Listen, I think he's going to sign a new contract, but what do we know nowadays? Contracts just mean that the club gets an assurance. You know, we saw that with Jack Grealish. He recently signed a contract for Aston Villa. I believe it was a year later he was sold to Manchester City, a boyhood Villa fan. So this is something that Leeds fans are harking back to. You know, I think it would be more of a devastating loss to Leeds United to lose Calvin Phillips because he's the anchor. I think he's irreplaceable. I don't think there's anybody who could fit in his mould and do what he does. Whereas I think Jack Grealish for Aston Villa, the beauty of it is when you get 100 million, you're able to spread that around on the likes of Buendia, Ings, etc., etc. But Leeds have to find a player or players, plural, to fit the system. And the system reigns supreme. It's the most important thing. And finding someone like Calvin Phillips is going to be much, much more difficult for me than Villa spreading the wealth of a Jack Grealish transfer. So it'll be fascinating to see. I do think he will sign for Leeds United, but the reason Leeds are doing this right now for me is because they are future-proofing what might happen. You know, I don't fully expect Calvin to stay at Leeds his full career. I don't, you know, I just think, you know, he might do, but we've got to be realistic. Is he going to get Champions League football with Leeds? Is he going to win the league with Leeds? Probably not, but, you know, when Manchester United, I don't think he'll go there. I think he's a Leeds lad. I think he loves the club. He's been quoted multiple times in saying that, who are Manchester United, this, that and the other. You know, I think his family have a massive influence on him. And they still live in Leeds. And if he was to go to Manchester United, it sounds ruthless, but they wouldn't have a nice time in Leeds, would they? You know, it's not going to be a great reception whenever he comes home, even when he's out and about, this, that and the other. And I don't think he'd tarnish his legacy with Leeds like that. I think it runs deeper than Smith to Manchester United. I really do. And obviously Rio, there was nothing there, or Cantona, etc. But I think with Calvin, it runs deeper with the club. And I'm not sure we've had that bond for a long, long time, really, with a player to the club. So, I just don't think that would happen. Do I ever see Calvin moving on? I do. I do. And I would never begrudge that of him. I would more be fascinated to see how Leeds would replace him. But we're talking if buts and maybes and all hypotheticals here. But yeah, Alex McLeish has come out, and Danny Mills, of course, has come out and essentially said that, you know, if you were to get one of the top 2-3 clubs coming in for Calvin, what could Leeds do? And without getting angry and without getting sentimental about it, I'm really interested to hear what your guys' thoughts are on it. You know, what do you think? Do you think he'll sign a new contract and stay? Do you think he'll be a one-club man? I would love that more than anyone. I would love that more than anyone. I hope I'm proved wrong. It just all depends on where Calvin's ambitions are. And I think this will come to a head maybe in the next couple of years to what he's going to do. But in the short term, he's going to sign a contract for Leeds United. I think that's pretty obvious. But it's going to be fascinating to see what happens with the Leeds star. But with him going to Manchester United, with him potentially going to Manchester United, which is on all the rumour mills this morning, I think that's a lot of waffle. But let me know what you think in the comment section below, guys. What are your thoughts on the Southampton game? What are your thoughts on the Watford game? What are your thoughts on the battles that I've spoken about? James or Harrison, Ayling or Shackleton, Cooper or Strauch? All these competition places, you know, massive strain on Marcelo Bielsa, doesn't it? But it's going to be fascinating to see. And obviously, Rafinha going out to the Brazil squad. Are you a little bit nervous about that in terms of injury and all this sort of stuff? Guys, there's going to be more videos coming throughout the international break. I always make sure I'm unique in trying to bring you different things during the international break and hopefully different collaborations, different style of videos. This is where, as creators, we should be creating, you know, and really being innovative when there's no football. And it's easy to do previews and reviews, but the international break it's always difficult for content, but I'm going to try my absolute best to provide you with some decent stuff. So let me know what you think in the comment section below, guys. Have a good day, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in a bit.